video, we're going to explore some of the free resources that come with the software. And by resources, I mean things like images, artwork, and designs. And these are often found in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. You can see, as I go up here, you'll see backdrop libraries and artwork libraries. You also have things like buttonholes and symbols. And we can't forget that we have some access to some things over here on the right hand side in our library if you download and install the free monthly designs. So let's go ahead and just take a look at each of these. We've already looked at custom shapes in previous video. If you want to learn more about those, please make sure you watch the videos on creating shapes, artwork shapes. Backdrop library, if I click on it, you'll notice that when I do, an Explorer window comes up, and I can just click on these and scroll through to see them, or I can click this little icon right here on the right hand side and choose to view them as large icons, and that way I can kind of scroll through. I'm using my mouse scroll wheel, and these are just images. They're not artwork, although these do show up as artwork as well. These are saved in the format of a JPEG or BMP file. As you can see, as I hover over it, it says JPEG file right there. And you can just bring any of these in. Like if I want to bring this one in right here, I just select it and hit open. And you'll notice that when I do, nothing shows up in the sequence view, and that's because it is a backdrop image. Now, if I want to select it, I can't just click on it, but I can click on the backdrop tool right here. And the moment I do it, it selects it. And the only things that I can really do are change the size, the scale, rotate it some. And you can see it's pretty easy to do that. I can right click on the ruler and go to inches so I can see it in inches. So if I know that I want this to be 4 inches wide, I can press the 4 and it automatically is changing the height. I can hit apply. Let me go ahead and zoom back into that. And you can see that I can just change the scale from 100% to more. I can rotate it. And the other thing that I find useful at times is this right here, where I can change it from darker to lighter. I will do this kind of frequently if I'm wanting to digitize over the top of an image and it's just too dark. I will lighten it up a little bit and hit apply, and you'll see that you can still see everything. It's just muted. And so that way it doesn't get in the way as much as you're creating your designs, especially when you kind of zoom in and you're working. You really want to see the lines and the outlines. It just can help at times. And you can do this at any point. So if you're working with a design, you can start it out like this, and all you have to do is go back to selecting the backdrop, and then you can lighten it or darken it at any time. So you're not stuck once you change it. You can go back to the original. The other thing to keep in mind when working with these backdrop images is that this icon is turned on right here, and this is the toggle the view. So if you're working with one of these images or any image you load in the software, you can click this icon to hide the artwork or the image at any time, so that it just turns it off so that you can focus on the design you're digitizing, and then you can turn it right back on again. It's very simple to use, and it's handy to use as well. So if I go back here, you can just see, you can scroll through at any time and take a look at what you have available. And what you can do with these is you can digitize over the top of them by manually doing it, by creating your own shapes. You can also use tools like the magic wand tool, which we will explain in a different video, or the red work tool. You can just see if I click in here, it's going to outline that shape, and that's the magic wand. But I recommend you actually kind of come in and create these shapes and digitize over the top of them if you'd like to. They're there for you to use. And if I come over here, I'm going to create a new shape or new design. And now I'm going to come over here to the artwork library on the right hand side. Kind of has like a paintbrush. And so I'm going to come over here and choose large icons again, and you can see that you can't really see anything. It's because this is a different format of a file. Okay, so now this is actually artwork. You can see the type says AI file. That's Adobe Illustrator file. So it's just a format that is a vector format. So you will have to just click through. And so in this case, you might not want to be in the large icons view. You might want to be in list view so that you can just click on something and just do your down arrows. And you're focusing in this preview area to see what that design is. I like to work in details actually. And you just kind of scroll through, find something that you might want to open. Let's go ahead and get this caterpillar design here. If I choose open, you'll see that it is different because now there is content in the sequence view. And the reason there is because it's artwork. So it's not an image. These are now artwork pieces that I can easily convert into something else. So if you found an image that you like, chances are there might be an artwork version of it that might be a little bit easier to work with. So you might come up here and choose the import vector artwork from the artwork library. And you can create your own and save them into here. And the nice thing about, which you'll learn, the nice thing in a different video, the nice thing about working with this is that anytime you click on this tool, it's automatically going to always take you to the folder where these are saved. Okay, so even if you go browse outside of it, the moment you click this icon again, it's going to come back to this default location. So when you save your own, like I said, that you'll learn in a previous video or in another video, you will be able to save them right into this directory. And that way you'll always be able to find it quickly by clicking on that icon. And I hope that makes sense. So those are different artwork pieces that you have available to you. You can play around with, and you can watch other videos as well about what you can do with artwork, like editing the artwork or converting them to embroidery stitches. There's other videos on that. And let's come up here to buttonhole. If I click on that icon, you'll notice that the properties box changes. There's not a whole lot of options or things you can do with the buttonholes, but you can see that there are different types of buttonholes. If I want to use this keyhole round, for instance, how it works is I just left click and it creates it at the size that is default, or I can click and drag to make it the size that I want it to be. Now, I will say it's better to just click on the screen and then maybe resize it later. And here's why. If I scroll in and take a look at this and I put in 3D view, you'll notice that the ones where I just left clicked, the satin stitches are going straight across. The one that I clicked and drug on the screen, notice the angle of those stitches was changed. Now, there's kind of a reason for that as well. It's keeping the width the same the entire time. So you can see the width of that satin is the same as the other one. It angles the stitches so that it's just the way that it works. So it's always trying to maintain that size. And if I just click on the screen and then if I resize it, now it's going to widen those satin stitches. So that's something to keep in mind too. So it's just a couple different ways that you can load them on your screen, and you can change it when you have one selected, because where this is a buttonhole in this sequence view, you can see that you're not stuck with the one you chose. You can select a different one, and convert it to that. And the buttonholes, there's not a whole lot. You can change the density. The default's 0.4, the stitch length is 2.5, and that's for any of the run areas. And how these stitch out, you can see like this buttonhole here, and this one They just have a certain method to how they stitch out, and they're easy to work with if you're needing buttonholes. The next thing we want to look at are symbols. So these are things that are included with the software as well. And the symbols, when you click the icon, you'll notice the properties box changes. And if I click this down arrow, it'll show me all of the different symbols that I have available to me. And symbols are just a good way of just bringing in something that you might utilize a lot, a little object, and you can save your own. And again, that's going to be in a different video. And so the advantage of creating and saving your own is that they'll become available right here. And depending on how you name it, it'll either show up at the top or in alphabetical order. So let's go ahead and click just on this airplane. How symbols work is, you can see I have my cursor here. If I just left click, it's kind of like the buttonholes. It's going to bring it in at size. Or I can click and drag. And notice that as I click and drag, I can make it bigger and I can rotate it around. I can put it in whatever position I want. And notice also that the tool remains active. So it isn't just going back and selecting it at the end. You'll notice that I'm getting different results here by clicking and dragging as opposed to just clicking on the screen, right? Because it's regenerating. Let's go ahead and just click, and you'll see that it comes in really nice. So something to keep in mind too is that you might want to just bring it in at size and rotate it how you want, but just showing you how you can work with these custom shapes. And again, I'm zoomed in to 159%, so this is pretty small. Now, if I click it and I drag it, you'll notice that it is working with a still stitch because you can see that it's just a single line object. So I could convert this to a running stitch if I wanted to. Just showing you, and you could convert it to some fill stitches. You wouldn't want to change it to a regular satin because there's so many different angles involved here. But that's kind of how you work with them. So let's go back over here and click on the symbols and just do a little quick scroll through to see what is available. Some of them are single color, some of them are not. And so that's important to understand too. You know that it doesn't have to be just a single color object. It can be, as many pieces as you want in it. And the thing to keep in mind with these is these are better to be kind of smaller accent pieces. So if you're creating symbols that you want to have access to, you want to focus on the small things. And so some of the things that, like for instance, that I might want to create with this is really small circles that are used in like eyes of a person. Anything that's like I have to manually create, I might want to save it as a symbol because it's just easier to grab it instead of digitize it over and over again for different projects. So that's something to keep in mind with it. So that's your symbols, how to access them. And like I said, in another video, show how to actually create and save your own. And now let's go and look at the other freebies that come with the software. And that has to do with the library and design. So again, how this works is there are a couple things that come preloaded, like this angels right here. If I click on it, and again, I'm at the library and angels. If I come to designs, you can see that these two are available. Those come with the software. If I go to animals, same thing. That loads when the software loads. You can see these two show up. If I come back over here, the free monthly designs, you need to download and install these from the club. So the rnksoftware.club, and you'll want to download and install them. And once you do install them, they come in here, and I need to actually hit this drop down. It's by month and the year. So if I select any year here, or month for that year, and I come over to designs, you can see that they show up here. And you'll see that there's JPEG image that says right here. Then there's the WAF file, and that's the one that you want to use. And how these work, it's pretty easy. You just click it and drag it onto the screen and release your mouse. And it's going to put it right there. And these come in grouped. So if I select it, it selects each piece. I would have to ungroup it if I wanted to access the different areas. But it's really easy to use these library designs. And this is also a browser. So I'm just showing you what comes free. In the other video, talk about how to use the browser and stuff. But this is just showing you the free things that are available to you when purchasing the Floriani software. So the free monthly designs, you have to download each month. Like you can install all the way up to this point, like what month it is. It'll put all of them in there, but then each month you need to go back in and download that month and install them. So I'm not up to date with mine, but I need to be. And the other thing is like there are some free FTCU projects that used to be available or used to be created that you can access, as well, and that you download at the time, just like your free monthly designs. So that's available as well. And flowers, those come with the software as well. So this is just the library. And if you're wanting to know where is this, you can access the library and you can save your own designs to go into the library. It's not difficult to do. Really all it is going to a specific folder on your computer. And that folder, let me get it set up here. It's on your C drive. So go to the C drive and then you go to Floriani and then you go to designs, and then you're going to see where those are located. So the free monthly designs are all right here. So if you put anything into this C drive, Floriani designs, anything in here is going to show up in the library tab over here. So that's kind of how that works. And so when you download the free monthly designs, it automatically saves them into this folder for the month and year. It automatically puts those in place for you when you install them. So you don't have to know to go there. It'll automatically do it for you. So that's how you can utilize the free different images and artwork and shapes, symbols that come with the software. So hopefully you'll utilize those, and I hope this video was helpful.